You might as well take it over. Bring her to you, Bobby. No, Donnie's over here. We didn't know.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're about wound up here. We'll get started. I've always wanted to stand in front of a crowd and say, if you haven't finished eating, stop. I hear that everywhere I go. So I'll get started. I want to thank Donnie Bishop. He did the catering tonight, did an outstanding job. I have some updates on the town of Franklin. I want to do some introductions of the town folks that are here, and then we'll go down the line to Highlands and to the county commissioners. I have Billy Mashburn, Alderman Mashburn. Hi, Billy. I have Alderman Brandon McMahon, Adam Kinsey, Barbara McRae, and Joe Collins. And I don't think we're missing somebody. Oh, and Patty. I'm sorry. Oh,
just the vice mayor, Rob.
I'm sorry. I apologize. So let me bring you up to date a little bit on some of the things that we're doing in Franklin. Then I've got a couple of other people I'm going to call on. The town on July the 28th is bringing, along with the Franklin Rotary Club, is bringing the entire folk moot crowd. We're going to have about 275 people, performers. They will have a parade on Main Street, and then following the parade, we're going to have a hot dog dinner for them at the square, and then they're going to be performing at the Performing Arts Center. The water treatment plant is moving on, the town's water treatment upgrade. The bids are due in December, and we hope to begin construction on March of 2017. A couple of town events coming up on November the 11th. We will have our town-sponsored Veterans Day celebration. October will be the big Pumpkin Fest, and last year there was a shortage of only 600 pumpkins rolled down Frogtown. It's become probably one of the premier festivals in western North Carolina. And then for the winter, we have the Winter Wonderland coming up. And this marks the 21st year of Picking on the Square, and this year, I talked to Donnie, it has been absolutely outstanding. The biggest crowds we've ever had this year. I want to talk to you just a little bit. I mentioned the basketball court that you see here and all the improvements to, I still call it the JC Park. Some people call it Memorial Park. But we have partnered with the Land Trust, Mainstream and, Mainspring. I still don't have it right. But Mainspring, and it still will always be the Land Trust of Little Tennessee with me. But we have done a number of environmental improvements here, planting of trees, grass. We're going to have some interpretive signs down here. And the town has completely refurbished the basketball courts. And a couple of years ago, redid the building here. The bike and pedestrian grant has been will be completed by October. We'll be moving on that. We got a $36,000 grant with a 10% match. I want to mention just one thing real quick. I forgot to introduce Summer Woodard, our town manager. Let's see who else have we got from the town. I've got Kevin and David. You'll hear from them in just a minute.
Chad.
And Chad. Let Chad go. I was sitting with him. Okay. Welcome, Chad. Chad is clerk to the board, doing an outstanding job. Barbara, you want to come up and just say, we've got a really unique thing going on that Barbara's heading up, and I wanted to let her know because it affects not only the town of Franklin, but also Highlands and Macon County in general. Barbara?
Yeah, I guess that might
sticky notes. We've been working on a women's history trail through the town of Franklin. We envision it starting around the bridge over the Little Tennessee River near the Niquossee Mound and Big Bear and all that, and going up the hill through the town and coming through this way all the way to Green Street, where there's a little African American chapel that's no longer in use, but it's very historical. We're hoping to restore that and use it sort of as a memorial to the black experience, but particularly the black women who were very involved in their churches. We want to include Cherokee history, the role of the women in Cherokee culture. And we have some just outstanding women and groups of women, such as the social workers who started the war on poverty here and really performed heroic work in the WTA days. The teachers, librarians, women who started the library here, the Macon County Public Library. It's turned into an enormous project. I have the Folk Heritage Association of Macon County has adopted us as a project and gave us some money to start with that we use to have a facilitator come up and do a big planning session, strategic session. We've got about, I would say, 30 or 40 volunteers who are calling me all the time, wanting to know what they can do. Several committees going, and everyone's just real excited. It's just a wonderful, wonderful project, and I think it'll be a real plus for the town and the region. Thank you very much.
Also, I'm going to introduce our new fire chief and our police chief. Fire Chief Kevin Rora and David Adams, police chief. They're going to say just a few words about a public safety day they have coming up. Kevin, David.
Do we need to go up there? Y'all bear with me. I think I learned 40 names tonight. I'm not going to remember any of them tomorrow. But it's glad to be here in the town of Franklin and in Macon County. I look forward to working with everybody. Me and Chief Adams talked a couple weeks ago, or about a month ago, about doing a public safety day involving fire, police, and EMS. And we're going to have that August the 27th from 10 to 2 out by the gazebo area. We're going to have popcorn, hot dogs, Dunkin' booth, bounce house, some gift bags. We're shooting some gift bags for the kids to go around and kind of collect things. We've been getting some donations from different companies here in town.
The Sheriff's Department's bringing K9s.
Okay, the Sheriff's Department's bringing K9. I think
Highlands Police Department will be there as well.
We encourage y'all to come out and enjoy it with us. Hopefully this will be an annual event for us every year. Get the kids involved, learn about, especially nowadays with the police and everything that's going on. It'd be nice to get them out there and interact with the public safety people. So, anything I missed, Chief? Yeah, we probably could. We talked about maybe doing a fundraiser with it, charging them and see how much we can make at that.
Mayor Scott volunteered first. So. There's already 100 names on the list.
But we look forward to seeing everybody out there on August 27th.
Thanks for your support. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. We got a deal on some red shirts somewhere. I don't know where. But one thing I wanted to mention to you, Mayor Pat Taylor has been very involved in it. It began here in Macon County. We have formed a mayor's group that is composed of the mayors of all the towns in the 7 westernmost counties. And the League of Municipalities has picked up on that. And Ronnie, let's see, it is a lady by the name of Amber Willis with the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. They're picking up on doing some things too in the outreach out here, I think, in the West. So basically, any of our board members got anything they want to say? I want to also thank Joe for what he did on all of this recreation that's going on here, Joe Collins. He remembers we were talking a while ago. I think he remembers when it was probably built, and we were trying to remember when it was. We think it was in the very early 30s. I think. I'm not the 30s. I mean the 60s. Joe, you're still younger than I am, much younger. All right. Anybody else? Ms. Woodard, anything? Okay. All right, moving right along. Update and introductions from Macon County. Chairman Corbin. Welcome, sir. Woohoo!
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. All right, thank you, Bob. I appreciate, first of all, the town of Franklin for providing the meal for us tonight. It was very good, and our congratulations to, I guess, was it Frogtown Deli did that? Yeah, good stuff. Have several things. I'm going to hit a few bullet points here. I've asked our county manager to come. He's going to talk some about our finances and some things that you need to know, and be involved, very involved in the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, as Commissioner Beal always has been. He just finished up his year not long ago serving as the chairman of that group. So being involved in that and working with municipalities, we all understand that sometimes we can affect each other in a positive way or a negative way. If the county that your town exists in is poor financially, doing a poor job with making decisions, school system, those kind of things, it affects the towns and vice versa. So let me just echo that I'm glad we do these meetings and hope they continue long after we're all gone. Macon County, like each of you, is fresh into this year's 16-17 budget. With that said, I'd like to take a moment and just provide you with a couple of bullet points about this year to be both efficient and effective in providing public service. Financially strong. How strong is Macon County? I'm glad you asked. We have a 40.18% fund balance, which remains well above the 27% state average and the 30% average of our peer counties. Here's another interesting fact, and I'll just sort of put a time when Commissioner Tate and I came on. It was 6 years ago. We came on at the same time. The county's debt, Macon County's debt, was over $60 million, and today it's $44 million. So we've been able to reduce the debt by $18 million in 6 years, with the help of all the commissioners. And I will say, all of us are here tonight. And I didn't take the chance to introduce, but Gary Shields, one of our commissioners, Paul Higdon, sitting next to Gary, our vice chairman, Jim Tate, from Highlands, our county manager, Derek Rowland, and Commissioner Ronnie Beal in the back. And then we have Officer Wishon, who is our guard at our meetings, and we appreciate that. And sadly, your services are needed and appreciated very much. And appreciate also the sheriff of Macon County, Robert Holland. But we all continue to have a good working relationship. The commissioners, we all get along. We don't always agree on every little thing, but we always work out where we have a compromise, or when we come to the end, we've all agreed that it's the best path to go. Again, we've decreased our debt by $18 million in only 6 years. The debt will be decreased by an additional $500,000 by next year. The budget we just approved had no ad valorem tax increase over the prior year. The revenue neutral tax rate of 34.9% cents per $100 of assessed value. At 34.9 cents, Macon County has the third lowest ad valorem tax rate in the state of North Carolina. We were fourth, but then Jackson County moved up a little bit, so we dropped below them. So we're proud of that. Just a couple of things more, and I'm going to ask Derek to come up. And I gave this analogy at a recent county commissioner meeting, and I think our local media picked it up. But it's something interesting. When you start comparing, you don't compare Macon County to Mecklenburg County. You don't compare Macon County to Clay County. You compare to comparable counties demographically, budget-wise, and so on and so forth. What's a good comparison? Jackson County. Why is that? Because they've got Silva, we got Franklin. They've got Cashers, we've got Highlands. They've got a very similar demographic. Population's very similar. Our budget this year is $47.6 million. Jackson County's 38% higher than we are. 38%. Their budget's $66 million to serve about the same amount of people and about the same demographic. But in addition, they have Western Carolina University over there. So pretty good indicator of our conservative budgeting, and we continue to do that. I'm going to mention two other things, and then we'll ask our county manager to come up. As you probably read in the paper, Tectone, which is a manufacturing facility here in Macon County, they make like nurse call systems for hospitals, nursing homes, things like that. What's that, Ron? Chester? Derek? And Chester did a lot of work in that. Oh, I'm sorry I didn't introduce Chester. Hey, Chester, our attorney. He keeps us out of trouble. He'll say, Mr. Chairman, you can't do that. And about 80% of the time I listen to him. Tectone just had the opportunity to buy the old SKF facility. The county was able to, we were able to take some county money and leverage, and I've been privileged to be on the North Carolina Department of Commerce Rural Infrastructure Authority. Governor McCrory put me on that 3 years ago. So it's been a good opportunity to know about these funds that are available. And so what we did was went to the North Carolina Department of Commerce, and we took about $40,000 of county money, and we were able to, Derek and I were just trying to add it up, but we think it's a little over $250,000 worth of renovation money that they're going to be able to put into that facility. Now, it cost us $40,000. What do we get in return? What we get in return is we'll be paid back, Ronnie, in ad valorem taxes. We'll be paid back in 2 years. I think we'll get it back in 2 years, just in ad valorem taxes. Not to mention they're adding $1.7 million in annual payroll. So that was a really good move, I think, for the county to make. Secondarily to that, Harmony House, which is a company that packs, it's like hiker packs and things like that. We've had them in our incubator facility at the industrial park. Because Tectone is moving, they also need to expand, so they're going to move into the old Tectone building, renovate it, and add more jobs. So that's going to be another hit for the county as far as additional jobs. Last thing I'll mention is Parker Meadows. We've gotten several months into operation of that facility since we last met. I know a lot of you know we took a lot of criticism when we built that. People said it was too far out of town. It would never generate the money we said it would, and all those things. Well, all those things have come to fruition, and they're all true. We're fully booked this year. We're doing 27 or 28 tournaments. To give you an example, this year, 2016, just according to our county manager, we got the sales tax from the county, and I was telling Joe about this earlier. If you compare March 2015 to March 2016, very little difference. Those aren't tourist months. Those aren't big income tax or sales tax months. I said sales tax, right? Sales tax. Our sales tax in March this year was 35% higher than sales tax generated in 15. And the only appreciable difference was the fact that we had two huge tournaments at Parker Meadows that generated that. At that rate, we've run the numbers. It will literally pay for itself in 7 to 8 years, not to mention the $6 to $8 million a year it brings in local economic benefits. So we're fully booked with all the tournaments, and there's games almost every night of the week. So if you've not been out there, there's a lot for everybody at your county park. Derek, I'm going to recognize you. Let me say this. I think Derek Rowland has very quickly become one of the finest county managers in the state of North Carolina. He's a very talented young man. He's going to mention several things that he's led the way. He literally saved us from going bankrupt in our health insurance, put together a committee, and he's going to touch on that. Not to mention things like the phone system and the county pay plan that he's put together. So he's doing a fantastic job, and he's only 32 years old. I got socks 32 years old, don't you, Ronnie B?
And other things.
So anyway, I'm going to ask Derek to come and finish out for the county.
Chairman's trying to age me a little bit. I'm 31.
Oh, sorry.
Till December there. No, but I think the chairman alluded to the strong financial position of Macon County and many of the things that we've been able to accomplish. And, you know, none of these things could have been accomplished, this financial position, any of the accomplishments the chairman mentioned that we as a county have been able to do without a great group of employees that are so dedicated. And it's just such a pleasure to work alongside each and every one of those individuals. And as the chairman said, we've been able to do it and will continue to do a lot of good things. The number one thing or the number one characteristic that citizens look for in a local government, especially the government that we all know is closest to home, is accountability. And one of the ways that we're accountable that I feel and this board feels, and they have illustrated in their actions, is how efficiently we operate. The taxpayers want the best bang for their buck for the services that the local government provides. The chairman alluded to the comparison to the Jackson County budget. This year, $1.7 million in capital expenditures have been included in the operating budget. These expenditures include the upgrade to the telecommunications tower system, our emergency communications service. What we're going to do is basically change those over from the current analog system, which is outdated, and these communication towers have not received an upgrade in over 30 years. We will go to a microwave communication system that creates a better, more efficient use on the end user, better ease of communication, which overall leads to better public service and public safety. As I noted, though, that $1.7 million in capital expenditures was all included in the operating budget. Thus, we did not have to use fund balance in balancing the FY16-17 budget. Another measure of efficiency will complete the installation of a new voice over IP phone system for the county. This is a significant expenditure. However, we did not have to budget in a special project budget or another fund come out of fund balance to fund this project, because when we ran the numbers on it, the installation of this new state-of-the-art system that is replacing our 20-year-old phone system is going to yield a savings of at least $140,000 a year. So we were able to install this phone system just off the savings that we were going to receive in current phone system operating costs, and we will be moving forward with that. Measures like this and the conservative budgeting approach that has been used by all department heads have allowed us to complete an organization-wide pay study. The original study that was started in 2013, basically Springstead came in, and in phase one, they made our pay scale and pay grades competitive with our regional peers. And anyone that was working below the newly established minimums within each one of those grades by Springstead was brought up to those new minimum levels. While that pay study did many great things for the organization, made us regionally competitive in our pay scales, made our beginning salaries regionally competitive, what it did not do was look at years in position and years of service and recognize the value that added to the organization. So one thing I've been very impressed with, and one thing that has impressed me the most in my 3 years as county manager, is there is no task too big for county employees to come together and accomplish and get done. A committee was formed of Macon County employees to look at finalizing this pay plan, to look at years of service and years in position, and incorporate that into our pay study, and be sure that years of service and years in position, the value of that was recognized and it was rewarded through compensation. However, we wanted to be sure that compensation was in line with our regional peers. So we were able to do that. That is not the first success we've had using a committee approach, a team approach in Macon County. The revisions to our health insurance plan in the last fiscal year yielded the first increase in our health insurance reserve fund in over 6 years. It increased by $140,000. Those revisions also led to an insurance premium renewal rate that was $150,000 cheaper than it was the year before. And as you look around with insurance costs escalating, everyone's blowing up listservs. What are we going to do about health insurance? Macon County was very pleased to see that the hard work of its employees using this committee approach, the leadership of the Board of County Commissioners, has led to our health insurance fund again becoming sustainable and us being able to enjoy reductions in premium. We remain effective. The key also, while citizens expect efficiency, they expect the services to be effective. And personally, when you talk about effectiveness of a local government, I feel like that the measure of that is how well it carries out its primary purpose. And the primary purpose of any government is to provide for the common good of the citizens. And as we all know, it's difficult to measure, and it's sometimes not very profitable. But nonetheless, without it, our society would be in bad shape. So one example, just talking about the common goods, one example is quality of life. And I think in the fiscal year 16-17 budget, that does take into consideration that common good and those quality of life issues. We will be finishing in the coming fiscal year Phase 3, Section 1 of our landfill. If you'll recall, we've talked about it. It's a tremendous project. This phase alone is right at $9 million. But upon completion, it will increase our landfill capacity by over 300% and give us up to 40 years to where we can be self-sustainable here in Macon County of disposing of our own waste, not relying on anyone else. We're going to improve the Robert C. Carpenter building in Wesley's Park, along with some other county facilities that will provide and bring new life to those facilities that our citizens use and enjoy each day. We've partnered with the town of Franklin, we'll continue partnering with them, trying to get our water and sewer situation, get the town to take those lines and work out those issues. We continue to partner with the town of Highlands, increase recreational funding to the town of Highlands by $50,000 this year. And as the chairman mentioned, Parker Meadows, which continues to be not only enjoyable to our citizens, but an economic driver here in Macon County. So more than anything, I hope to show you that in seeking to find this balance between efficiency and effectiveness, it's taken a lot of hard work from a lot of good people. I'd like to commend the Board of Commissioners for their leadership, and I'd like to commend the Macon County employees for their hard work and dedication. That's solely in the name of public service. We could not have done any of this without them, and like I say each time, I'm very proud to work alongside these individuals and under the direction of this board. So thank you, and hope you enjoyed the update, and I'll turn it back over to the mayor.
All right, the next person on the agenda is Pat Taylor, my friend, the mayor of Highlands, and welcome back. Did I do that, or did Lightning do that?
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's always great to be in Franklin, and we appreciate the hospitality that the city of Franklin has shown us tonight. It's been great. With me tonight is two of our commissioners from Highlands, Commissioner Donnie Calloway and Commissioner Eric Pearson, who is joining us, and also our town manager, Bob Fry. Let me just go over some of the things that's been going on in Highlands. It's a very active time of the year. Sometimes people like to call it the season for Highlands. A lot of people are there, a lot of events. Thursday night, for example, was just a chock full of activity for the town. Wonderful activities. For example, our theater group, they had their opening night of a wonderful night to sing. I'm sure it was great.
It was fantastic.
Wonderful. Good. In the business sector, our chamber had an after-hours party at the town park place with nitro glass, grass, bluegrass. Great turnout. We're enjoying very good business this summer on Main Street. So that was great. But really the biggest event that we had occurred at our new pool facility. We had the finest, and people tell me the best community swim team in all of North Carolina come and participate with a meet with our Fighting Highlands Hurricane swim team, and that was the Franklin swim team. They came up, and it was a wonderful event, and it kind of illustrates to me how we all can cooperate and work together. Franklin has 120 swimmers. They brought in 89 that night. We responded with 35. It was standing room only, jam-packed, and I had the honor of welcoming our guests from Franklin. But what really kind of shocked me when I arrived was all those kids were in that pool taking warm-up. So we had about 100 kids swimming in the pool, and I said, how in the world will anyone be able to organize this and put on this meet? And after the national anthem, the whistle blew, and volunteers from Highlands, our swim team, and volunteer parents from the Franklin team got into action, had the swimmers get in place, and immediately the races began. And it was just a great evening of competition. And of course, we were outscored by the great Franklin's team. But it really, I stood back and watched that and said, this is how communities work. We're working together. We have a common goal, and that is promoting our young people and all the parents, whether they were from Franklin or from Highlands, they were all working together as a team to make sure that event really took off. And it was just a great event. It was in our new pool facility, which when I became mayor, we were in the beginnings phase of building that. It was a glamour project, a sliding roof that opens and closes, and that was a real accomplishment for our community, and it's well received. What's interesting now with our budget this year, we didn't have those glamour projects. We had projects like all communities that you just have to do. For example, we have spent over $600,000, and it's underway to convert our water department from a chlorine gas treatment system to a bleach system. And then also we have, like all government agencies, surprises. We had surprises. We'll probably want to talk to Derek about health insurance because we were surprised this year on rising costs. But we also had another surprise, and that was we had a major water tank that's out of concrete that we have been operating for several decades, and just a routine maintenance procedure. We were informed that the tank was failing. We've been able to buy some time, but that's something, the Buckhorn water tank is something that we'll have to now start designing for a new tank, and then we'll have to start replacing that. The other thing that we have, our park, as we had a great celebration on the 4th of July, our park, our Kelsey Hutchinson Founders Park, is going great, and we appreciate the support that the County Commission has provided, the partners, the Friends of the Park, who have been raising money for that. So that's been a very important thing. One of the things that we have been doing is we have created in the last 2 years a department called Altitude Broadband. And it's one of the things that I've been very concerned with throughout Western Carolina. I just read an article this week in the Citizens Times about the need for broadband throughout Western Carolina as a future. And we are investing in that process by creating Altitude Broadband, and we are providing broadband access for all of our citizens in the town and also in the Plateau region too, with the Wi-Fi system that we have. We started last year, and now we are, in this year's budget, we'll be putting well over $700,000 more into it because we have discovered there is a demand, and we have to keep up with that demand by hiring more people to do the installation and maintaining the system and the equipment. So the Altitude Broadband is something that we will see growing in the next year and then into the future. And one of the things I want to say is that we're not just isolating our attention to just Highlands. Like I say, if our signals go past the city limits, we certainly will provide service, and we are very interested if Commissioner Bill and Connie Orr from Graham County, if they could work with the legislature to kind of free up the process where counties can start offering these types of services in addition to municipalities. We'd love to partner because this is the future of economic growth and development in Western Carolina. One other thing I wanted to say was just a few months ago, we were all worried about sales tax. Macon County, the town of Franklin, and Highlands. Again, we appreciate Commissioner Bill and all of the work he did in helping turn that juggernaut that they had in Raleigh, where we were going to lose significant money, around to where we lost some money, but we're seeing in Highlands a lot of sales activity that will cause our sales tax to increase, and we're just so appreciative that the original proposal for redistribution of sales tax did not take place, and we'll be able to still see a growth in sales tax in our budget. One business that we're going to be opening, or will be opening hopefully later this week on 4th Street, a new gas station and market will be opening next to the rec park. I hope if you're in town you can get by and see this new facility. It's really a great example in smart development and how you can have a business and also deal with aesthetic issues and environmental issues at the same time. And then finally, one of the things that I think that we all probably will have to be concerned about and addressing in the future, and that is with the increase in tourism and visitors in this area, the demands on providing roads and parking and access is something that we'll all have to work together in the coming months and years to address. So thank you for having us.
Okay, Madam Manager, do we need to do anything else? Did you have anything else? Anybody else have anything? All right, I want to say I think we accomplished a lot. I've been going to these meetings for several years, and I think tonight was outstanding. We learned a whole lot tonight. It wasn't just one of these, glad to see you, y'all come back. So we'll look forward to the next one. Who's hosting the next one? Highlands? Highlands is? Good. Looking forward to it. Yes. Okay, if there's nothing else, welcome. Feel free to stand around. We've got all kind of desserts left, everything. Do some networking. Good night.
We need